Hello everyone, I'm Eddie B. Welcome to today's channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the good and bad of trucking in Texas. And yes, I love trucking through Texas. It's one of my favorite states to drive through, and here's why. Here is, guys, Texas. I'm driving through Texas. The roads ain't that bad right now. And this is what Texas looks like. I'm on I-40. I'm going to be crossing the Amarillo in about an hour and a half. And yes, Texas could be like a desert, and sometimes it's a little bit, I don't know, I want to say like boring in some places, but some places actually pretty cool to see it. So guys, why I like Texas: the speed limits are high. That is number one. The speed limit goes up to 80 miles an hour or 85 on a church bike somewhere, and basically it is really good roads. They're mostly straight, hardly any hills to go on. That is for a fact, unless you're on I-40, which you get a few hills between Oklahoma and stuff and New Mexico. But overall, I love Texas. I mean, it has some nice nature. It has forest. It has temperament of South Carolina. It also can get cold and get some snow in the northern parts. And it's like a desert, and it has beaches as well. That's what Texas is all about. I like Texas also because the DOT officers really never ever mess around with you at all. The weigh stations are mostly closed. They randomly open, so you can't really know what's their time schedule. And they're small, and they're really never open, and they hardly ever bother you. The fuel is really cheap in Texas. I remember under Donald Trump at a quick trip, the fuel was $1.77 a gallon, which is pretty rare, but still, that was the cheapest I ever saw it at, and it was a really good price in Texas for diesel. That's why I like Texas. The fuel is definitely cheaper. The rates are not too good all the time. Usually they still run for about $2 to $2.50 a mile, or $1.50. Texas rates are not always good. You're usually on the cheaper side, but you can still get good loads coming in or out of Texas. And what I like about Texas is the fact that they have an oil industry, and the fact that Texas is so big that you literally can do anything in Texas in terms of trucking. There's so much trucking involved in Texas. It takes a day full driving just to cross Texas on 20. So basically it's like 600 something miles, and it takes about a day to cross it if you can find a truck stop to cross it over in a day. But yeah, it takes a full day just to cross Texas, full shift. And so basically if you're on local, you cannot go through the entire state of Texas local, because then you'd be illegal. You have to be on ELD or paper logs. But yeah, that's what it is about Texas. I like driving through Texas. Hardly any hills. Roads are mostly good, straight. The only bad part about Texas, I want to say, is probably the wind. Out of all things, the wind. The wind is probably the worst part of Texas, because sometimes the wind is so high it can pull your load off, by that, or pull your trailer to the side, or basically pull, yeah. You know what I mean. But it's not as bad as Wyoming. Wyoming by far has the worst wind ever. And Texas, one thing I do not like absolutely about their truck stops is the fact that their truck stops in a city, I'm not talking about out there in the country, in the city, are roughly very, very small. Even on the weekend, they get filled up super fast. And basically, I was lucky when I was in the city to find a parking spot, because truck stops usually don't. In Texas, usually fill up, well, to say pretty quick. But other than that, yeah, Texas is good. Alright, guys, thank you for watching. I'm Eddie B, signing out. Not canceled. Guys, I'm Eddie B. 2004 turn right. This particular package, drive an attempt on the 6 Series.